Hi, welcome to Made to Heal with Angela Brown. So, I'm going to talk about what fears are holding you back. I'm offering a 12-week course, online course for ages 18 on up, and it starts June 24th and it goes to September 9th. Every Monday, a live Zoom class with like minded people, and it has a lot of visuals and homework with it each week. And then I meet with you one on one to target your goal areas. I had a lot of fears that kept me from moving forward. I didn't know how to move forward. And so I'm going to talk about fears. Check out the link below to register for that class. Let's talk about fears because I want you, and you can put it in the comment if you want, but what has been the biggest, one of the biggest fears in your life? And I want you to think maybe in your younger years, because when we have fears in our life, we take kind of our fears from childhood and we carry it into our adult years and being like, oh, well, I'll never do that because of this, because it brings back all these emotions. So think about fears that you had as a kid that maybe you didn't participate in things or get out of your comfort due to fear. Now, when you think about the thing that scared you the most, was it really scary after all? Is it like a big, wild, ferocious animal chasing after you where you really had to have fear for your life? So that's what I'm getting at. The fears that we have don't really endanger our lives. So I'm going to share a couple stories about how fear would get in my way of moving forward and freeze me, really not being able to move forward. So the one story is where I froze in my tracks and I could not move because I was so scared. But it wasn't life threatening, right? So I had this. I was petrified of spiders, cockroaches, and when I was a kid, I grew up in an area where there was a lot of cockroaches, and they were, black as my shirt. They were really black, and sometimes they were as long as an inch and a half to 2 inches long. They got pretty big. And I remember sitting on my mom and dad's couch, and they had mostly black with white stitching all over the couch. And so I sat down to read a book one day, and I felt a tickle on my leg, and I looked down, and I just kind of brushed it off. It looked like a black thread at the corner of my eye, and I just brushed it off. And I continued reading, and a short time after that, I felt this tickle again, and I looked down, and there was a cockroach on my leg. I was just like scared to death. I got up, dropped my book, and I ran to the bottom of the stairs because I was in the basement. I ran to the bottom of the stairs, and I could not move. I couldn't even run up the stairs because I was just shaking, and I had allowed myself, because that was just something that I did not like and a fear that I had. And I just was froze right there in my tracks. So that's what fear can do. It can just stop you and keep you from moving forward. The next story that I have is when I was growing up, my family would go to an amusement park yearly or every other year, but it was a family tradition to where we would go to an amusement park, and everybody in my whole family would get on a roller coaster. And I would not. I was just like, I would look at how high that thing was, and I would be like, not getting on that roller coaster. I was scared to death. And so all those years of me growing up, and we finally went out of state to a different state to an amusement park. And I just thought, you know what have I got to lose? I mean, it took some coaxing from a lot of members of my family, but I'm like, you know what? I'm gonna do it. As scared as I was, I did it. And once I did it, it was like, oh my gosh, that was so fun. Let's do it again. Like I wanted to do, I think I got on that roller coaster another 5 times. I did it 5 times in a row because it was really fun. And so, how many times do we have fears that we hold ourselves back? That what we really hold ourselves back from doing is something that lets us enjoy life, right? Just finding the joy. So, what fears are holding you back? Name them, call them out, and ask yourself, is this really something to be afraid of? And, there's those fears that get in the back of our mind, like a parent's worst fear is losing a child before they go. A lot of times our mind will just go places we don't want it to go, and it doesn't serve us. It really doesn't. I just, when I have these, because I tend to be a worry wart, or the what ifs creep in, right? What if, and you worry about things, and honestly, that kind of thinking does not serve you. And the power of thoughts are incredible. So anytime I'm worrying about the safety of my family members, I turn it into a gratitude session. I just turn it to prayer, actually, and I say, thank you, God, for keeping my loved ones safe. Thank you for watching over me and protecting me. And I am so grateful for, our health, and I'm grateful for, whatever I can think of, because that is bringing a good energy to the scene. When we're constantly focusing on the negative and the bad things of life, that's what we're going to get more of. When we are always fearful, we're just always in this fight or flight mode. And it's important to be able to relax our mind. It's important to look at scary situations, like public speaking, for instance. A lot of people, I read in a book, and I can't remember which book, but I read in a book to where a poll was taking, and it was asking what people's greatest fears were. And public speaking was ahead of dying. More people would rather die than to do public speaking. So that was just fascinating to me, to go, wow, that's truly a fear, and people would rather die than public speak. And so it is a real fear, but it's I like to look at things saying, okay, what is this really gonna be the end of me? Is this really gonna hurt me? What good can come out of this? What if I move forward with this? What are the pros and cons? Line them all out. What are the pros? What are the cons? And most of the time, we find that we are holding ourselves back from enjoying life and being spontaneous. So it's so important to call out your fears, recognize what they are, and be able to move forward. So I want you to be aware. Awareness is key. And I have 3 steps that I think I'll probably share in my tomorrow's live video, or in my video, is the steps of healing and connection, because just the awareness is the number one step. So I'll get into that tomorrow. But please like and subscribe to my channel. Call out your fears and face them. That's the biggest thing that we can do, is face our fears, and we soon realize that, wow, we have power and control over that too. We don't need to let things overrule and take over our thoughts and our minds, and help us to have that fear. And I always tell my kids, because uh, when you're raising a large family, a lot of the times when you have young kids, fear comes up. When it's raining and they see the lightning, they're fine, but they hear that thunder and they're scared. And so it's just, I like to tell my kids that Satan, the devil, he wants us to be scared. He loves it when we're scared, because he has that edge in when we have those fears. But when we face those fears head on with faith, faith is the opposite of fear. Trust that God's got you. Trust that everything is going to be fine, and trust that things are put before you, because it's not a coincidence. It's just um, part of the deal, part of the plan, part of the process. So trust it and enjoy. So that's my advice on fear. Replace that fear with faith and move forward. Just realize that most fears that happen to us, or no, most fears that we have in our mind, are not really there at all. We just, something we created in our mind. So change those thoughts and like and subscribe to my channel. God bless. And until next time, bye bye.